Welcome and blessings. My name is Elodia Corona, and I am the host of Acting the Art and Portraying the Beauty of God. And today's topic, can you be a great actor and follow Christ? According to our guest today, you can be a great, joyful actor and follow Christ. Marta, if you could share how many years have you been in the industry?
I'm sorry to say at this point 35 years.
What do you mean you're sorry?
Too long, but 35
years.
Yes.
And Joe?
Yeah, 25 years.
25 years?
Yeah.
Awesome, excellent. And Marta, could you start off by sharing a little bit of your work? I know your most recent series.
Yeah, the most recent, if you want to go backwards, the most recent is a series I did called McBride. It was for the Hallmark Channel, and it was with John Larroquette. A lot of fun. It ran for 2 years. Before that, if you backtrack a little bit, I'm most recognizable for roles I did in Star Trek Next Generation, Magnum P.I. That was a plum role. I loved playing Michelle, Tom's wife, recurring role. And a series, Tales of the Gold Monkey, which was a fun role. A lot of fun. That ran for a season. And my first film, going way back, my very first gig in show business was a feature film called Boulevard Nights. And I, right out of the gate, after 3 years of intensive study, I was the lead in a feature film. That was fun and fortunate.
That's a blessing too.
Yes.
And then Joe, could you share a little bit?
Yeah, well, starting from the beginning, I began my career probably late after studying. 1988, I got in the feature film Renegades, which was a Universal Pictures, and then I come from Canada, from Toronto, Canada, so I was on a series there for the Disney Channel for a number of years called Ready or Not. And after that, many other films and guest appearances, most recently on the hit series 24 for Fox, yeah.
Now I'm going to think Hallmark and Disneyland. Now, Marta, if we could start off with you, if you could share a little bit about starting out in the beginning, like how can an actor be a good Christian and follow Christ?
My first experience was it was bittersweet. Why? Because it was the lead in a feature film. It was my first gig, as I said. But 3/4 into the shoot, I was asked to do a nude scene. That's a problem with me. It was even then. This was before my reconversion, which didn't happen until 5 years ago. But already at that time in my life, I had a set of morals. I had a structure in my life over which I would not go. There was a line over which I would not go. But when they asked me to do that, they thought they had a pushover. They thought they had an ingenue, brand new actress, that I would say yes to anything.
Now, when you said no to that, was there a point where did you question yourself, like, I should have taken it or I didn't? I mean, you hadn't had a conversion, but yet the seed was planted, probably your upbringing.
The seed was always there, but why? Because I was raised in Catholic schools. Catholic schools, thank God for Villa Cabrini Academy, because it was a fabulous school. Now, in retrospect, I can say that. Yes. My home life was a train wreck, but I had this Catholic school upbringing, and the seed was there, so something was prompting me to say no. And I know now, in retrospect, where it came from. There. Now it's come to fruition, right? I understand it all. But they knew that if they fired me and wanted another actress, they'd have to reshoot all over again. That's very expensive.
So they waited till the end to ask?
And no, it was midway.
Sorry.
Then they forgot, or purposely forgot, that I had in my contract a no nudity clause. That means they can't do that. But they thought I was impressionable enough to say yes and convince me into doing it.
So did you immediately say no, or did you?
Oh, it was instantaneous. That was instantaneous because I knew the line over which I would not go. I've never done nudity. I never will do nudity. And that was my first experience. So yes, it was bittersweet. I was in a lead in a feature film. It was a big feature film, big producers, big director. And I had to deal with that. But I learned.
If I can say something,
yes.
How did they treat you after that?
After you said no.
Yeah, it was a little tense. It was tense on the set, no question about it, because they start to resent you. But ultimately, in the end, they're going to respect you for it.
Yeah.
I stuck to my guns for whatever reasons, and I'm the better for it. You know? Yeah.
And Joe, is there anything you'd like to share, like when you started off?
You know, I started out wanting to be famous, wanting to be, this actor out there. It wasn't sort of a mission like I see it now. And of course, I'm married. Now I have 11 children.
11 kids.
Yeah, and I mean that's really, that's my claim to fame. Yeah, I mean there was content. There was certain content that I knew, and this was essentially, it wasn't so much because it was I was shy or I didn't want to, I had a problem with certain things. It was more so, could my mother watch this? Because I've been raised in a good family, good Catholic family. I knew right from wrong. But
starting off, sorry, you hadn't had a conversion. I mean, how long?
No. Yeah. Really, like when I really started to take my faith seriously was when I was around 30 years old, and I
want to ask your age.
Huh?
I want to ask your age.
Yeah, I felt you edging towards my age.
I kind of wanted to, but I just kind of picked you up.
I'm 47 now. I mean, come on.
Awesome.
But they beat you down. Through attrition, they hit you with things like, what do you have, a problem with your body?
Yes.
God created your body.
what are you
Is it a religious issue?
Thing,
What is it?
See, in the beginning, the curiosity is that, like you guys sharing, in the beginning, you guys hadn't had a conversion, but yet the seed was already planted. You had that in the clause, yet they're still going to ask. And nowadays, like for myself from the outside looking out, you see all the vices that artists get, actors get drawn into, pulled into,
Well, here's a news flash. Here's a news flash. Most girls say yes.
Yes, that's right.
Right. Well, when you have the big stars saying yes, I mean that's even something else they'll use against you too. When you have like major stars, taking their clothes off and doing these kinds of things, portraying these kinds of things. I mean, who are you? You're not a major star, and look at this one doing this.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So there's a lot of pressure, and so it gets to the point where you have to know what your values are. You have to be specific about that, and when you're specific about it, then you don't necessarily vacillate. Sure, there's pressure, and there may even be disappointment. It might not even be in the middle of a feature film or a middle of a program that you're called to do something, but it might even be the project itself that you want to do, that you need to do, and yet you have to let it go. That's been my experience on a few things that I just couldn't really live with myself, and it's not because I'm puritanical in a way. I don't see myself that way.
Could you share like an example when you literally almost compromised values and you didn't before the conversion?
I always almost compromise. No, but I know.
It's hard to say no sometimes.
It is.
It's hard to say no to the money.
You're an actor, so what are you trying to do? You're trying to act. So
you want the work.
Yeah, you want the work.
Yes. Where do you get that strength from to be able to say, you know what, according to like how you guys have shared, yes, morals and values and all that, but there's got to be an inner strength that comes with that that helps you say no.
Yeah, it's a prayer life. I mean, for me, it's a prayer life.
With me, I had it inculcated in me in school, but it was not a conscious prayer life. I did not have a conscious prayer life. I did not have one till 5 years ago. I was always motivated by something else. Could I look at myself in the mirror? Could my mom look at this? Could my dad look at this? That was how I approached things. I mean, my husband and I had a running gag. I would read scripts. He'd be watching sports on television. I'd be reading the newest script that had been sent to me, see if I was interested in it. And if he saw the script go flying across the room, he knew something was bad in it. And all he would do is he'd look over and he'd say, another bad one, huh? Yeah, because you're going along fine with the storytelling, and then they drop in this scene.
They drop in this scene. Come on, I don't know. I used
out
to pray.
of nowhere.
Later on, I used to pray, Lord, make this be doable. Before I would open
Yeah.
make it be doable.
Because you like the story.
And then you start reading, why are they going down that road? And it's, page 30, page 35, 40, it's injected in there, and something else happens. And sometimes, in the position I'm in, it could be a wonderful opportunity, because oftentimes if it's just something of a matter of content in a story that I can change through a creative way, through understanding, this truly doesn't add to the story. Like we've discussed this before, like how it actually detracts from the story. Yeah. It's an obstacle to telling this story. And if a creative person is actually open to these things, and they're not just bent like this has to happen, which oftentimes, unfortunately, it is that. But if they are open to that, they'll see and so it can become an opportunity to actually take something that wasn't really worthwhile and make it worthwhile.
You see, I said to the first film that I did where I was hit with this, to my
leading role.
Yeah, I said to my betterment, I said no. But you know what? To the film's betterment too. The film did not need that. Right. They just wanted, and they told me this was a good one. Give it to us, we'll probably cut it out of the film. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'd like to see
not-
that
that's not
day.
going in.
No, never, never. so.
You also, when you read the script, you kind of meditate during the script. How do you find time as an actor to pray before, during, or after, or is it just like all combined?
Oh, I have a great testimony
Yes.
to that. I read a story and I never forgot it. Never forgot it. Grace Kelly was doing one of her classic films. I don't remember which one, so forgive me for that. But they went together. We were called first team on a set when they want us. So she was in her trailer.
First team.
First team meaning the talent is required now to come on the set. So they went to her trailer, her dressing room, and the door was ajar. They knocked, they looked in. She was on her knees praying the rosary. That's a true story. True story. But
Then she was fired. No.
then she was, no, never fired, never
Yeah.
fired. Now she was a devout Catholic,
She
Grace
kept getting
Kelly.
roles after that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
She's
yeah.
a great actress.
Yeah, she was beautiful. She was aptly named Grace, was she not? Because she exemplified grace and beauty on the screen. Yeah, she
And
was
how
special.
would you pray for a role?
I didn't then, but I do
do
now.
now.
Prayer for me now.
Yeah, yes.
It helps me because I know now that even before I have to wrestle with whether or not I'll do the role, I'll pass on it early.
So you won't even give it.
Yes, I
You
recently
don't want
did
to get
that.
into
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Don't take it down the road. The further you take it down the road, the more difficult it becomes. to let it
Yeah,
go.
when money starts
Yeah.
to be shown on the
Yeah,
table,
yeah.
that's tough to say no to. And it's easy to say no if you're being asked to do a menage a trois, and it's easy to say no to that. But when the money's on the table for a series that could be a long-standing running series, that's tough. I did that recently, and I said no because I know I'm tired of the Catholic
Like
jokes.
recently?
Recently. I'm tired of Catholic jokes. I'm tired of Christian jokes. I'm tired of Pope jokes. I won't be a party to them anymore. I won't participate in that anymore. So before this ever became really evident that it was going to be mine, I was close. I know how close I was. I said, I'm passing. Of course, they thought I was crazy because, that's money in their coffers.
Yeah.
Had to pass. Had to pass. That's my prayer life
That's
today.
your prayer life today. Thank you. And Joe?
Yeah.
Especially you being married with 11 children
Yeah.
and managing the prayer
You
life.
have to remind me of that.
Yes,
all
I
the time,
do.
yeah.
Because I'm even at an all with the 11.
Thank you. Well, my wife is really the inspiring one, I think. So how this comes about, my prayer life and that. Yeah, I mean, it's a daily thing. It's a daily norm of mine that I apply myself to this, and I try again to begin anew the next day in taking whatever I'm doing and sanctifying it. Being able to say to God, here's what I'm doing. So if I'm doing this particular project, if I'm preparing for a role or what have you, I pray before that I'll do my best, and then I immerse myself in the role with all of the things that I've been taught and I've learned over the years, and I use that to give glory to God in those things. And now, what we're speaking about, you can't give glory to God if it's offensive to God.
Yes.
So it becomes readily apparent to you when you're going down that road. You can't, we know the Cain and Abel story. Cain had his shrubbery that he wanted to give to our Lord. Our Lord said, no thanks. And that's precisely with us. He expects us to give the best.
Yes.
The best. And it's not that people are necessarily, the bad intention. There are people who are bad intention, but for the most part, people are well-intentioned, they're just ignorant. Would you agree with that?
That's
There's
right,
a huge amount
that's
of
right.
ignorance out there. That
A lot of people have to learn. They
Yeah.
don't know it. I had
They
to
don't
learn
know,
it.
so
What's helped
I
you
had
guys
to.
become disciplined as actors?
There's a
for the prayer
wonderful,
life?
wonderful phrase that Father Robert Barron taught me. I listen to him regularly because he's got a wonderful, wonderful show called Word on Fire, and you can get him on your iPod or whatever. He talked about the discipline of desire. So we have this desire as an actor, right? I want to be an actress. I want to be an actor. If you don't begin to shape, structure, discipline that desire, you're going to find yourself all over the map. Spread yourself too thin. You're going to have everybody pulling and tugging at you. It's inevitable in this industry. So you have to know how to bring yourself back to the center. What I love to call my spiritual chiropractor. Once in a while, once back to prayer, prayer is a spiritual chiropractor, because when when that spiritual spine is out of whack, you need to get it to get it back in order. But if you don't discipline the skill, which is the desire to become an actor, you must discipline that skill. so that you can find your way home properly. You can prioritize properly. You know what's first. Always. Always. And then everything is second.
Yeah, and it's a continuum. It's not just like you do this in one act, one time. It's like we're constantly, regularly. It has to be a way of life.
It's a habit.
It's a way of life, right? It's a habit.
You know, my husband used to say, acting is believing, and believing is a habit. And I should tell you, my husband, his name was Sal Dano, and he was an extraordinary master of a teacher. He taught me everything I know as an actress. He taught me volumes.
And he was your
as
first
a person,
acting coach as well, too.
My first real acting coach, and my first real acting coach. And we subsequently married after that. But he incorporated the spirituality without beating you over the head with it. I go back and read his manuscript from time to time, and oh my goodness, where was I? I was missing.
Like now after
I was
the conversion,
missing in
you
action.
can see it different.
Now I see how clearly, because I see his words on paper. And he taught me early, fall in love with the art in yourself, and not yourself in the art. You see, you asked me about the compass early on, before I became reconverted. That provision, that instruction, guided me so thoroughly, so well for so long. That's partly why I was able to make the decisions that I made. In other words, use the word no a lot to a lot of my acting choices. Because of that, I was in love with the work, the product, what was going to end up on the screen, what was going to end up on the celluloid. You know, film is forever.
Yes.
You can't erase it once it's there.
You can't?
No. So you're busted, Joe.
Right? And that's good that you said that, because I know most actors, you know, you wouldn't want to say no to roles, right? You would want to accept as many roles as you can.
Of course.
Because
It's your livelihood.
That's a key issue that Marta has hit on, like the ability to say no, which is something of actors kind of lose that. Is that they forfeit it, they give it up. Because I believe they don't have a proper understanding, that discipline of desire that Marta talks about. It's when I go for a role, or when I'm being interviewed for something or meeting somebody, I'm assessing myself. I don't go in there like, please say yes to me. What else do you want me to do? Do you want me to jump this way or that way? How high or what? Yeah, exactly. And they sense that, and it's natural that they'll take advantage of that then. But when they see that you have an understanding of what you're capable of and how you see things, not only I think it's very attractive as well.
Ultimately, and ultimately you'll get known for that, because you have to ask yourself early on, what is it I want to be known for? Once you define that as an artist, as an actor, that's just, it relaxes you.
Even if you define it, they'll still try, right? They're going to still try to catch you.
Well, it's relentless. Temptation is relentless. You know, Oscar Wilde said, I love this because Oscar Wilde was so witty. He said, the only thing I can't resist is temptation. I mean, that's funny. He was a Catholic man who wrestled with, tumult all his life, but he was
like
so
we all do. I mean, I think we all do. I think it's our human nature. We're going to struggle with things, and I think it's the formation that we give ourselves, that we seek out formation, because formation comes from knowledge, objective looking at things, and we have to have those people in our life, and we have to be well formed in our faith. I mean, I know this for myself, understanding my faith, learning about my faith, not just, when I say prayer life and the norms, the daily activities that I have sort of in place, the time that I take to talk with God, to give that time. I talk with many people, throughout the day. So it's a specific time that I give myself to talk with God, because then I can put everything out, and I can take all those relationships and incorporate it in that time, and it's quiet. It's mental prayer. It's just like, and from that I gather wisdom, and I can see things more clearly, and kind of get myself out of the way. And I think it would be well for actors going into this endeavor of going into show business, of wanting to be a part of it. That aspect, don't leave it undone. Go nurture that, bring that, just like your art. You have to have you have to be holistic. You have all those aspects of the person. You know, you can't negate one and think that it's because that's who we are. That's what we're made of.
We have a sense of discipline in other areas. We go to the gym as actors. We
Right.
stay in shape. We keep ourselves relatively attractive because we have to. We are our own commodity, right? However, if you can etch out, you have to etch out this regiment, right? You have to etch it out, and you have to make the time for prayer. It's no different. You have to go to your prayer, your gymnasium prayer, just like your classes are a gymnasium for acting. You have to go to that gymnasium called the sanctuary, called a church, which I love. Quiet, just you and the Blessed Sacrament. As someone once said, he looks at me, I look at him.
Yeah.
You know, yes, the Curé of Ars.
Yeah.
I mean, you just sit there and he talks to you and you listen, and he guides you so beautifully. But you have to, here's where our part, the effort to etch out the time, just like you do to go to the gym and anything else. Singing lessons, acting lessons.
It's like as your obligation as an actor, your obligation in the prayer life.
Yes.
To keep you structured.
We have an obligation to Jesus.
the obligation.
Jesus Christ.
He's the one who gave the gifts that we have.
That's right.
I mean, they've been given, right? And in the final analysis, I think it's going to be like, so what did you do? Like we know the parable, you know. So what did you do? Well, I buried mine in the sand.
Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
you know, I buried that because I was afraid you're going to ask some more from it. You know,
one.
yeah, and then the one who did the most even got more.
Yeah.
And you see the way our Lord looks at that.
It multiplies.
It multiplies. But He wants to. Okay, you take that. You've been faithful in little. I'll give you a lot.
Well, you know, and Father Mitch, I love quoting priests because they're so filled with erudition. They teach me so much. Father Mitch Pacwa said, I heard him once in a homily say, you can't coast to heaven. Why? Coasting is a downward motion. And where does that lead? Right?
You want to go down.
No. So you can't be relaxed about a prayer life. You can't coast with it.
gotta
You
be
have to
disciplined
work
and
at
work
it. Discipline that desire.
So to all the
Important.
actors that are out there watching us now, can you be a good, joyful actor and follow Christ?
Of course.
I can.
In a word, yes.
We have two great examples.
I think it's imperative. I think that's the way. That's the way. The way to be joyful is with Christ. There's there's these pockets of success that people get, but look at what a lot of people do with that, right? Because they have no understanding of that, and then a lot of these things actually lead to vice because that void has to be filled with something.
Yeah.
So a lot of times that
That's right.
happiness of that, then it dissipates and it's like there's nothing there, and so you got to fill it. Like, give me back that. But when you're constantly you're fulfilled because you're a child of God and you understand your place.
You know,
don't
if you're
need
practicing
this.
and
You
you're
don't,
going,
yeah.
yes.
If we think of the greatest story ever told, we all know what the greatest story ever told is, right? That being the one, and understanding that every story thereafter either deviates or derives from it. Period. That's a wonderful fulcrum because it's from that we can make our decisions. Look at that story and what it taught us and what He did for us, for all of us.
Would you guys be so gracious
then
to maybe give
decide.
an example of when you did deviate and not stay in that discipline of prayer life? And
Who's
what
gonna
it,
watch this?
And what it and what it brought to you, like what came about of that? Because I know that's like you said, the constant struggle, and that there had to be a moment when you did deviate.
I deviated.
I just want one.
No, I deviated when I've cursed on the
Okay,
screen.
that's right.
I've never used the Lord's name in vain, and I'm surprised that I can actually say that because before my reconversion, I like to call myself a heathen. I was. I mean, until you really know Jesus, you are a heathen. You are. And that's how I explain myself before the fact. But I cursed. I would use things in storytelling that I wish I could get back. But that was the extent of it. That was the extent for me.
Have you had a moment now that you're in the
pretty
prayer
good.
life that you have deviated a little bit, that you
No.
catch yourself?
No.
Wow, awesome.
I do in real life, and then I go to confession. Regularly.
Yeah, that's the only way.
Yeah.
I think there's like on film, we're being specific on film. I mean, there's been many things.
Just in general, something. Just
Oh yeah, okay. In general, yeah, I go to confession all the time. Like, I mean, we're always the righteous man falls 7 times a day. Yeah, 7 times a day. So yeah, I mean, I'm certainly in that framework. But the thing is that no, I mean, there's things that I've done. I can't really say that I'm ashamed of. I'm happy to say that. That I mean, it might not be everybody's cup of tea. I portrayed a lot of bad guys, but it wasn't necessarily that I wanted to glorify those bad guys. But there are the one thing that I would have contention with was what Martha mentioned, like taking the Lord's name in vain. I'm actually proud of myself that I didn't engage in that, because there was, I mean, it's rife in all scripts. I mean, so many and plays and everything. And
You
I
asked them
would
to just take it out, or you just...
I would just say, yeah, no, I would, no, it doesn't, it's not necessarily that it's there in the first place.
Oh.
So I would just say, and nobody really played hardball with me and demanded, no, you must say that.
Sometimes you can just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes, that's right, sometimes you can just do it. Sometimes
They're so busy protecting their jobs.
Yeah, I've had people...
Truthfully.
Yeah, right. I've had
if
people
you're
come
doing
back
this
to me and
over-
point it out, like, oh, why don't you want to say that? I mean, you might be, open up. They might want to, oh, what are you doing? I remember I was on the set and I went down. I used to try get to mass, and this was on location. It was, and I found out where the church was, because after we were starting very early in the morning and ending with there was enough time, and I would go and they used to say, okay, we're all going to meet because we're on location. Like, where's this guy going? What, people here? Like, so I'd say, well, I'll see you guys a little later. I'll meet up with you. And then so they found out, like, Jill's going to church. So where'd you go? And then so when I came back to the table and they'd already be in their dinners and everything, they'd say to me, Joe, did you go to confession? Did you speak to Father so? And you got to kind of laugh it off.
That's a mockery. They're trying to make
no,
a
but
mockery.
you know what? But you know what? They really
awful.
enjoyed it. They really enjoyed. I have to say, I didn't. It's ignorant on their part that they're trying to get. But you know what? It didn't get to me. It did.
stop you from
No, it didn't stop me. And I could deal with. Yeah,
You're fortified.
yeah, I know, but it was actually that, but one by one, like individually.
Yeah, you add all those up.
But you'd have people coming up to you privately. You see, they don't want to do it en masse, and usually that's been my experience. Like, you do these things, and then in a private conversation, somebody comes up to you and asks, like, so why do you believe? Like, tell me about your. You see, they want to know.
They want to.
They want to know. They're too shy to, like, don't say it in front of everybody.
You can pique.
They're even shy
you can
about
pique
asking
their
you.
interest
Yeah.
because you're different.
Yeah.
When my husband first passed away 4.5 years ago, I went to a priest, and I was lost, grieving, going through a 180 change. My life as I knew it had stopped. It had ended. It had changed. I went to a priest at my parish, St. Monica Parish, and I asked to speak to him, and I said, I'm thinking of just leaving the business because I don't know what to do. I'm not interested in show business anymore. And you know what he said to me? He said, you can't quit. You can't quit because you might be the only light on that set. And I had never thought of that.
Yeah, that's great.
Jesus, in the parables, in the Bible, he went to sinners. He didn't avoid them. He went to Samaria, the woman at the well, Mary Magdalene, I mean, on and on and on. He didn't avoid them. He met up with them. He confronted them. He taught them, converted them.
Well, he said like those who are not sick are in no need of a physician. So we have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, you have to confront it. You go. You don't quit because it's what I do. It's what I know. It's what I'm good at. Mm-hmm. You got to go where it's a mess.
Ultimately, that's where the inner strength comes from, right?
Well,
Prayer life.
Yeah, always front and center.
Always
back
and
to
sacraments.
Front and center, yeah.
Sacraments.
Yeah. And you're a daily communicant. You go every day. Congratulations.
I try to.
I wish I
Yeah,
could.
And confessions. And today's
Well,
Saturday.
not every
so you
day
can't go
confession.
today.
Do I go to?
No, Saturday. Saturday
I should go
confession.
to.
No, Mass every day.
Yeah,
you go.
yes, I
God
do.
bless you. God bless you. I try.
try.
I can't make it every day, but I try.
Well, thank you guys both for sharing on how you can be a good actor, a joyful actor, and follow Christ.